My friends, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the Thursday update. So if you're new to the channel, I'm trying to do Tuesday and Thursday updates here on YouTube as far as what I'm looking at in the broader market. Tuesday's video, I just did a kind of an outlook on AMC's Q4 earnings and the reverse split and all that good stuff. So if you're interested in that, please go watch that video. I will do an update on AMC in this video. Try to keep these relatively short and sweet, which short videos for me is like under 20 minutes, and but we'll keep it as short as we can. Number one thing I want to talk about in this video is, like I said, just kind of the overall broader market. SPY got a huge bounce today where it really needed to on the 200 moving average, and so kind of what I'm thinking we might look at going forward. Okay, before we get started, please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you haven't already, please follow me on Twitter, Colin_Gladman. Easiest way to keep up with everything I'm going to be thinking about. I tweet a lot of different setups whenever I find them. It's just, like I said, the easiest way to keep up with everything that I'm thinking in between the YouTube videos. So if we go look at futures first, okay? So on futures, really what I'm looking for right now is kind of the battle of all these different EMAs. So we've clearly lost the October low support from there was the rising support, so we got a good solid breakthrough right here, and then we've just kind of been consolidating in this range. I am of the opinion that, I mean, obviously bears have been pushing down here, but overall, you know, I mean, pretty much since the entire beginning of the year, we've just kind of been range bound up in here. Nobody's really, you know, pushed the market up, and nobody has really pushed the market down. So if we want to look at it from a more bullish perspective, then you're gonna need to start clearing some of these EMAs and simple moving averages, and you're gonna need to start clearing them with some actual volume like that. Like the move needs to be compelling. Like and you want good solid momentum candles. Like what happened back here back on Tuesday the 21st. This is obviously a good solid momentum candle, but the volume was a little bit, you know, weaker here overall. So, you know, but that's what you're looking for. You're looking for an impulsive move, if you will. So all these candles with just, you know, tons of wicks, both top and bottom. It's just, it's a real fight. It's a real tug of war right now in this range that we're in between bulls and bears. So if you're bullish, you definitely got to hold that 200 moving average. It got pushed down below overnight in futures, but then pretty much got bought up all day today. However, you then got rejected off the 50-day moving average. You've also got the 921 EMA crossover. This still is showing strong momentum to the downside, in my opinion, which is going to be your more shorter term EMA. So what we're really looking for, the next big battle, is getting, like, you know, these, you know, the EMAs on top of each other. So what I mean by that, let me just kind of clear some of these out here so the picture's a little bit cleaner. So here's all of your EMAs on a daily basis. So if for bullish look, you want all your lower time frames to be above, so like your 20 and your 50, you want to be above the 200, okay? Anytime the 50 is below the 200, that is typically a lot more bearish territory. And if I zoom out in here, you can see that all these bear market rallies that we've had this entire time, we've always had these little blips or these little peaks that pop up above the 200 EMA just for a little bit and then get hammered down. So we're really looking for a sustained move above that. Like I said, from a bullish standpoint. From a bearish standpoint, you want to see another leg down. You don't think the economy's in good shape, you know, the stock market's too high, then what you're going to want to see is you're going to want to see everything staying below, you know, these moving averages. So from an EMA standpoint, everything looks still pretty bearish as far as I'm concerned. From a SMA standpoint, a simple moving average, so now let me get the EMAs off. Let me get the So right now, you've got the 50 is above the 200. So it crossed back over here back, let's see here, that was the end of January. And that's a golden cross, if you will. So you really want to see now, you want to see being above that. So you want to break above on futures. Basically, let's call it 4,000. That's what you're kind of looking for futures for continued continuation to the upside. Now, if we go over here to SPY, sorry, let me clean this up for you a little bit here. So SPY actually finished on top of the 50-day moving average today, but like I said, but still below the 9 and the 21 and still below the 200. So it's really 50-50 as far as I'm concerned. You've got some decent support underneath it, and you've got, you know, good resistance above it. Like I said, that 200 moving average, or excuse me, the 200 EMA is the big one that SPY has just, anytime it's broken above, it's been for very short periods of time, and then it's just gotten pushed right back down. And that is when we have seen, you know, our next moves down in the market. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was a little surprised by, not a little surprised. I was surprised by the recovery today, for sure. I anticipated, I played Tesla puts and caught an amazing move to the downside there. Closed them all out at open. And because just like I always tell my Discord, you know, you're always going to see automatic reactions. So, you know, you see gigantic rug pulls, or if you see something, you know, massive gap up, typically at open, you're going to see an automatic reaction going the other way, whether it's bears stepping in after gap ups or whether it's bulls stepping in after gap downs. And Tesla still relatively stayed, you know, relatively flat all day. But man, SPY, I mean, it opened, let's see here, 392, and then pushed all the way up as high as like 398.50 today. So I mean, that's a big old move, and it was just kind of early in the day. Sorry, let me get rid of this. So early in the day, you know, it was just like, okay, are we just, you know, are we just going to push up and, you know, gap and crap, so to speak? So you push up, you get the gap fill, and then roll back down, and then kind of came back here and just hovered above that 200 moving average for a little bit. And then you had the Fed speaker, Bostic, come out and, you know, threw the pivot word out there, and you got a real good solid, you know, push up. And obviously you can see here, once that move up happened, then you had stronger volume come in associated with that. So there's a couple of Fed speakers tomorrow. Let me make sure I get you guys good information here. Yeah, so at 11 a.m. tomorrow, which is going to be 10 a.m. my time, you've got Fed Logan, Fed Bostic, and then Fed Bowman, Fed Barkin, but that's going to be towards the end of the day. So lots of Fed speakers. You got PMI in the morning, right when the market opens, so 15 minutes after market opens. You got non-manufacturing employment, so a lot of data that potentially comes out tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that if you do have open positions. So what do I think could happen here? So from a bullish standpoint, a push all the way back up to, you know, 402 to 404 makes a lot of sense. I mean, the daily candle, there's no doubt about it. If you're just looking at this from a daily perspective, this is a nice bullish engulfing candle bouncing strong off the 200 moving average. Now, like I said, the problem is we've got, you know, all these EMAs kind of hanging out over, and you still got the 50 below the 200, and it was kind of rejected off that area today, plus once again your 921. So you got a lot of confluence here of a lot of EMAs, but if it can get on top of that 400, then it can really start to move back towards the upside. If we look at this from a fib standpoint, then if I do an inverse fib, so that's going to be going from the February high to our most recent low. So we pretty much rejected off the 236, and how fibs work is the more shallow the rejection is, then the more stronger the initial impulse move is. So if you have real shallow corrections before your next move down, then that shows you the move is more valid. If you have a deeper retracement, so if it did push all the way up here, you know, back to 408 or even back to 402 or 412 before you started to push back down, then this initial move down wasn't near as strong. But you could be looking for, you know, are we going to get like an ABC or an ABCDE correction before you know, pushing back down, or are we in the process of getting an A and a B? So are we in the process of getting an A, then a B, and then a C correction before then continued upside? So I mean, it's just, we are in uncertain waters, uncertain territory, however you want to look at it. So just don't have any type of bias, especially when the Fed's rolling out speakers every single day and they're all saying different things, right? You know, I mean, I took multiple screenshots today of Feds, just, you know, all kinds of different Feds. They're like, okay, you're going to be the dovish Fed today. You're going to be the good cop. You're going to be the bad cop. And it's really starting to get that feeling of just like, does anybody have any idea what's going on, right? And to me, you know, the more uncertainty that there is in the market, then, you know, that's typically going to lead to downside. So whether it's really good news or a really bad side, the market does like certainty. So a lot of confluence here and a lot of resistance just between, you know, the rising support that we had, the EMAs, the SMAs, you know, the bear trend, you know, so there's a lot of resistance that SPY is going to need to break through. And I just don't think anything's in good enough shape to be getting that news. That's my personal opinion. Now, that doesn't mean we can't see short-term upside. Pretty much for me, you start getting up here, especially if we get, you know, another weak volume push up into the 382 to the 0.5s. You know, I'm a big believer in low volume pumps are not the way. I've been in the mode essentially for the last, you know, year and a half now, basically shorten all the pops, and you know, not every trade's been a winner, but it's been very lucrative, very profitable to pretty much short the pops throughout the entire year. So I'm going to be kind of watching for some of these key EMAs and fib levels and trends. And like I said, don't just trade off of any one thing. Don't just go, oh, it's approaching the trend. You know, now I'm going to get puts. You know, you want as many, you know, layers or levels of confluence on your side of the trade. So think of it as always like when you're trading, you've got a list of like pros and cons. And you just, you're only, what you're doing with technical analysis is you're trying to load, you know, the pros of the trade in your favor and have very few cons. There's always going to be both sides of a trade that you need to look at. But overall, if you go, okay, I got 8 things that, you know, I got 8, you know, levels of confluence that are going in my direction, and I got 2 things that potentially can move against me, well, then that's a very good, strong bias that your trade could potentially work out for you. So that's the way I approach it. And, you know, that, and if you're watching my channel, that's kind of what you're here for. As far as AMC goes, not a great day, but we did come down here to the golden pocket of this most recent move, and you got a nice push up. Now, the other good news is these most recent drops have been on very low volume, which is what you want to see. So the market, you know, basically took earnings, and yeah, it's dropped, but it hasn't been on like, you know, drastic increasing volume. For me, I'm watching this rising support right here that pretty much came from the January lows. So you got 3 nice touch points right here. So if it does, you know, continue all the way down, it could come all the way back down to $4.80 before testing that rising support. Also, AMC still has the gap, which if it came down here, we know on shorter time frames, shout out to Dave Marino Jr., he pretty much taught everybody that AMC loves those 786 retracements on the short-term time frame. So if you get a real weak low volume push down to the 786, basically right around 530, 528, that would be a potential great position to, you know, get some shares if that's your thing. At the end of the day, though, you got to remember, too, that there is a gap all the way down to 407. I'm not going to get into any of the, you know, reverse splits or votes or anything like that here. I did an entire video on that on Tuesday. Please go watch that if you're interested in my opinion on that. For Tesla, caught this nice gap down. I also tweeted this setup out, so hope you made some money on it if you follow me on Twitter. So now what I'm looking for Tesla is, are we going to get a push back up to around that 197 range? If we get a real low volume push up to that 197, there's no doubt in my mind that Tesla is in distribution right here, but I could be wrong, and I always leave room for that possibility. So what I'm looking for is, even if it does start to make a potential push back towards the upside to fill the gap, I want the volume to stay low, and then somewhere, you know, right around here in this trend line, in this 197 area, which acted both as a lot of support and resistance, potentially re-entering shorts. I do think Tesla is going to have a healthy retracement ahead of it. Okay, and then last but not least, not something I talk about a lot, but Bitcoin, I tweeted out this rising wedge. You can see here that the initial volume move, and this is on a daily basis, but that initial push, the volume came back in, and then you started forming this rising wedge pattern, and the volume just, you know, slowly started dropping off. Now you've got a clean breakout. The volume is picking up. Usually when crypto is kind of getting rug pulled a little bit, it's a sign that the overall markets are not looking at wanting to be in riskier investments, kind of like a risk-off environment. So that means, you know, bigger and smarter money, if you will. And once again, I'm not knocking anybody or anything like that, but quote-unquote bigger, smarter money is going either into cash and into safer investments. On a plus side for Bitcoin, you definitely have broken out of this falling wedge, and where you started that up thrust back up is, you know, on increased volume. So it might even be just coming back here and retesting like right around the breakout of around 20 or so before then continued push to the upside. I own Bitcoin. I'm not a big I know this is about to sound crazy, but I'm not a big crypto fan, okay? Especially after everything went down with like FTX and everything like that. But what I've already bought, I've got in at good prices, and so I'm going to continue to hold that. But this is kind of what I'm looking for. So short term, definitely a bear on Bitcoin, but it looks like it could be coming down to around 20 and then retesting from there. Hope this video was helpful to you. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Much love. We got all the Fed speakers tomorrow. You got all the data tomorrow. So short-term potential bullish, but still long-term bearish. I think we're going to need to see, you know, which I've been consistent in that. I just don't believe the economy is at a point. I think inflation is about to come back. I think the Fed is about to get a rude awakening. Once again, that is my personal opinion, but always trade your plan. Do what is best for yourself, your family, and your portfolio. You really start clearing though. You know, we start getting back up here, you know, let's say around 405, we'll get some nice pushes back up there, and the volume is increasing, and things are going to start looking pretty good for bulls at that point in time. So that is my opinion. I hope this video was helpful to you. I will see you on Tuesday of next week. Much love, my friends. Have a good one.